Hey writers, this is Jeri Darby and I am here today with the letter O for the ABCs of writing. Writing a book really is as easy as ABCs when you know the ABCs of writing. So today I'm going to be talking about the letter Q. And I do want to say that I shared the information in my title section if you would like to download the ABCs of writing. Sometimes when I share links and stuff or put the word link or mention the word link, they'll take down my post. So anyway, we'll see what happens with this. And again, I'm talking about the letter Q for the ABCs of writing. So I'm going to go through, and this list is getting quite long, but I'm going to go through the list of ABCs that I have covered so far. So I only have 10 more to do. So yes, so I want to get this project completed so I can be on to the next. Whatever the next is going to be, I'm not clear on what I'm going to do next, but I will be doing something. So the letter A in the ABCs of writing, and again, you can download a free ebook with the ABCs of writing in it by just using the connection that's in the title. And A is for appointment, B for books, C for clarity, and each one of these will relate in some manner to writing. D is for deadline, and E is for engaging. Thank you for joining, Londa. Appreciate you. F is for forgiveness. G, grade level. H, humor. I for ideals. J for journey. K, knowledge. L, learning. M, metaphors. N, names. O is for open. P is for proofreading. And today the letter Q is for quotations. I love quotations. I love reading them. Sometimes just reading a great quotation can give you this sudden whiff of insight and clarity. And so yes, I do use them in my book. And it's great when you can find the right quotation for the right segment of your book. It can be very powerful. But don't overuse them. There's a tendency for some writers to just overuse quotations, and we shouldn't do that, because what we want to do as writers is put a demand on our own creativity. When I read a quotation and I want to say something similar, I put a demand on the writer within me to say something powerful. We can say something powerful without saying what everybody else in the world has said. Let's become quotable. Let people quote us. And hi, Jean, how are you? Thank you for joining. And so what I want to say is, I'm going to talk about Bible quotations first of all. Some people write a book and they want to include half of the Bible in their book, but I try to challenge people that when you're using scriptures, at least write something that's going to make it applicable for today. So when you're using Bible quotations, be sure to say what version of the Bible you're using, because that's important for your copyright page. On the copyright page, there's some permissions that you can find online for different versions of the Bible. If you use their scriptures, they want you to use them exactly like you found them in the Bible. They don't want you to add anything. They don't want you to take away anything. And they want you to use their permission statement on your copyright page. So that's one of the things you want to know about permissions and quoting the Bible. The other thing is, when you're quoting anybody, there's a fair use practice that's encouraged. And what fair use for the Bible is, I think most Bibles, most translations will allow you to quote up to 500 scriptures. And I always tell people, if people want to read the Bible, they'll read the Bible. So, try to add something to the scriptures that's going to make it applicable for today. If you're talking about how David slayed his giants, or whatever David did with the giants and the 3 Hebrew boys in the fire and all that, make it apply to the day. Because right now we don't face too many giants and there's not too many people coming out of fires alive. But we need to know those scriptures were put there for our reference and to show us how mighty God is. But let them know how God is bringing people out of fires today. Let them know what kind of giants we're slaying today and how God is doing it. And so the other thing that I want to say is a lot of times you'll see on the copyright page, our scriptures were taken from the King James Version, unless otherwise noted. So if you're using King James, you know that's fine because it's in the public domain. Public domain means that it's no longer copyrighted and anyone can use it, so that's fine. But if you're using any other translation, there's a brief quotation or permission that you need to put on the copyright page. Also, what I want to say too is like a lot of times I'll tell people, I give them some suggestions on what to put in the front or the back of their books. And even if I say put a prayer, you know, there was a couple of writers that wanted to take prayers that other people had written and published and use their prayers. But again, put a demand on your writing gift. And if you're going to put a prayer in your book for someone, ask God to give you a prayer. The same God that's speaking to these other writers, the same God that spoke to the people in the Bible, if you're writing for him, it's the same God that's with you to help you write your book. The Creator who has imparted into you his creativity. So let's not limit ourselves. One day the Lord spoke to me, I mean, he really did. He said, you are a genius. You are a genius. It's like, wow, I'm a genius. And then he said, all my people are geniuses, but their geniusness or whatever has been buried under chaos and trauma, even from their young life. It's been buried. But we are God's geniuses. We are his prized possessions. And if you're a writer, he's trusting you to hear from him and to impart to his people what he has put inside of you. So again, when you're writing your book, quotations are great and they can add a new flavor to your writing, but you also want to be authentic. You also want to be creative and you want to be quotable. Just like you're quoting those other people, you want people to read your book and then when they're speaking, get up and say, well, you know, I read in this book, I read in Jean Aiken's book, and this is what she said. I read in Yolanda Brown's book, and this is what she said. We want people to quote our books that's been inspired by the Holy Spirit over the years and throughout the generations. In fact, over the years, I have talked to people who have said, well, you know, Jeri, I talked to you about this topic and I wrote down what you said. In fact, I was eating with the lady just the other day and I said something and she said, let me write that down. And that happens on occasion over the years when I'm speaking to people. And that's who we want to be. That's who we are. We are writers and we want to write something that's significant, that's powerful, and not only quoting other people, but being quoted ourselves. Now, the last thing I want to say about quoting is that sometimes what happens is people will take liberties and quote other people. Like I said, there is a fair usage thing, like if you quoting just a couple of sentences or something, and not too much, you know, most copyrights include that you can use a little bit to keep it simple, that you can use a little bit of this. And then some of them say, no, you can't use any part of this. So a lot of people quote books and other people, and then they put an acknowledgement or a citation like this is who I quoted. But if you're using large sections of another person's work, a citation or acknowledgement is not permission. You need to actually get permission from that person. And so again, today, ABCs of writing, the letter Q for today. I have 10 more letters to do, and I'm going to hang with it till I get them all done, and then I'll be on to the next, whatever the next is. But I want to thank you all that joined me live or that came in for replay. And if you put in hashtag ABCs of writing, you may be able to get the previous videos, but if not, you can just use the information above and download your own copy of ABCs of Writing. And so that's all I have for you today. Have a good day, and I will see you for the letter R next week. Goodbye.